Hi, I'm Carol Baha, and I'm here to talk about the new Bootstrap Genesis. Now, the Bootstrap Genesis is from Greenroom 136, so you can check it out at greenroom136.com. It's a local company that make a whole bunch of very cool bags, usually the sling bags. Now, the first time that I actually found a Greenroom bag, I was at the Mac store in Wanutama, and I was checking out some kind of sling bag. I'd just gotten back from a trip to Penang to promote relationship status, and I needed a bag to carry all my stuff because my backpack was just getting too full. I just wanted something a little bit more spacious because I was buying some stuff as well that day. And I happened to meet Patrick, the guy that designs and creates these bags, over at the Mac store, and I ended up buying a Greenroom bag, one of the big 15-inch ones. And since then, I've actually bought 3. Now, the main one that I usually carry around is this thing over here, which is the Greenroom wildcard with the cool waxy covery thing, a kind of duck wax. I can't remember what it's called. It just looks dope. And this is what I usually use to carry around a bunch of the stuff that I usually have day to day, like for example, you know, my MacBook Air 13-inch, which I usually have around, and also my iPad, which I usually carry around in that bag as well. Now, the thing is, Patrick called me up and he was like, hey, why don't you try out one of these bags instead? Because I haven't actually been using a backpack for a while, and sometimes I need to carry more stuff. Like sometimes I need to carry clothes around and things like that. And of course, sometimes you need to be able to carry like folders and things, you know, which this is a lot more easier to carry around than one of the sling ones. Like if I'm using one of the other bootstraps and all that, yeah, it's great, but there's something about using a backpack, and especially this isn't like your traditional backpack where you zip open from the side. It's everything's coming in from on top, and it's a pretty damn spacious bag. Like even really big books like this, I can carry that around, or you know, if I'm going out to Amcorp buying some records and stuff, I can carry that around too. And it's got a whole bunch of different pockets. Like you've got the front pocket as well, so I can pump in a little bit more folders in there, you know, maybe a magazine or something. And as always, they have like this little part over here. If you are carrying a bigger laptop and you know you want to protect it and stuff, you can pop it in there. And it's also got the bit behind it as well to slot stuff in too. And then you have the side areas like these sides over here, where you can put in, you know, like a tripod or a monopod or your umbrella, things like that. Or maybe, you know, carry a beverage around, because I'm always walking around with a can of Nescafe. And that's just the main compartments. Then you have this little zip panel where I took out the iPad just now, and sometimes I'm not buying comics. It's a pretty decent place to keep my stuff separated as well. And it's got these little pockets over here. So if you're carrying around stuff, you know, it's just, there's a ton of space in here. It's almost like a TARDIS and stuff. Got my sonic screwdriver over there. But, and it's also got these little pockets at the side here, which is kind of interesting. I don't know whether they were intentional or not, because you could keep something in there if you have something longer, like let's say if you wanted to keep your monopod a little bit more secure, not using the strappy thing over here, you just pop it in there. Like tons of stuff that you can keep in this, and it's incredibly, incredibly spacious, and it's got the usual like Greenroom design. I mean, this material over here is the usual Greenroom material that they have for all the bags. The lining inside, it always is this kind of color of green, which also helps to keep it waterproof. The straps at the side over here, they're great, comfy. I actually experienced whilst I was using this, like sometimes the way I'm holding it, my arm would kind of get a bit rough over here, which was a bit annoying, but I don't know if everyone's going to experience that. I think it's just because the way I'm built and my arm just keeps like rubbing against it. You know, it's a pretty damn cool bag. It's a pretty spacious bag. And a great backpack to carry around like big things. Now the problem comes around when you have like smaller things, because that's one of the main faults I could think of when with a bag like this. It's like you have these 3 compartments here, these little small compartments over there, you know, for pens and stuff and all that. But then everything else is a deep compartment, you know, everything's top loaded. So when you have stuff like the magazines and the books and the laptops, it's great. But then when you have little things, it's you could end up just like searching around, rummaging everywhere. So you kind of need a little like thingamajiggy like this. And this is also a Greenroom thing. I got this for free at one point. knickknacks. I think they call them knickknacks. Yeah. So like, you know, imagine if you wanted to keep like your MiFi stuff or your mouse or, you know, your thumb drives, especially thumb drives get lost everywhere. You know, pens, pencils, chargers, and all that stuff. You'd want to get a pouch like that. That's the only thing that I can think of as like a minus point on it, because there aren't any small compartments. It'd be kind of cool if it had like another compartment over here, you know, just so you can put in stuff of that size, which would be about the same size as that, you know, just to keep things separated. Like, see, I just found this little thing in here. Didn't even realize it was in there. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. You're thinking, why should you buy a local brand, you know? Fact of the matter is, when it comes to stuff like this, I would actually prefer to buy local, and I've actually tried a bunch of local, more affordable brands, you know, for backpacks and stuff like that. And one of the annoying things that I found when it comes to local buys is that a lot of them, you know, for say quality, for, you know, cost effectiveness, a lot of the, you know, American stuff, the Western stuff is very, very expensive. So you end up paying a lot more, whereas the local stuff, it's cheaper, but it doesn't last as long. There was one local brand, I'm not going to say who, but I managed to rip up one of their bags. I was doing a gig playing outside the country. When I came back, I literally picked it up from the conveyor belt, and the whole handle just ripped off because it just wasn't really made that well. And with the Greenroom bags, quite honestly, I've never felt worried about stuff like that. I've never felt like, oh crap, is this thing going to last? Is this thing going to snap? Are these bits gonna come off and stuff? And also the fact that the guy that creates it all, Patrick, he keeps very, very like in touch with his customers, which is very, very cool. I remember the first bag that I bought, I got a tweet from him basically saying, hey, there was a manufacturing fault, and that's how I managed to get one of these knickknacks. He sent it over, you know, just as a kind of an apology that it didn't have this one extra pocket. I didn't even notice that there was an extra pocket missing. He sent that one over, which was really, really, really cool. So yeah, like getting back to the whole local thing, some people have told me like, why don't you just buy like a crumpler and stuff like that? I like supporting local stuff, and especially if the local stuff is actually coming in quality, I'll pay for it. You know, I'd much rather the money goes to someone, you know, in this country who's trying to make like a decent living with this stuff than try and, you know, send that money elsewhere and overpay, because you know that those other bags like crumplers and stuff are more affordable somewhere else. The other thing with the bags that I like is that, I don't know, I find them very, very unique. And it's also kind of a statement, like, you know, a lot of the Greenroom stuff right now, local people are using it, and it's kind of getting noticeable right now, which I think is really, really cool. And you know the guy makes it by hand, which is very, very cool as well. So the question is, like, is this going to be my day-to-day bag? It really depends. You know, that's the reason why I've bought so many Greenroom bags, is because different scenarios, I'll use different things. Like if I was traveling maybe 1 or 2 day trip, you know, I got to bring my laptop, maybe my camera, and that's, you know, all of it, then I'll probably use this because it's a lot handier. You know, I could bring my monopod over, travel around with it, I can take photos, I can pack my clothes in here, all that kind of stuff. So that's very, very handy. Then maybe other times I'll just want to use my wild card, you know, just to carry around like my iPad or my MacBook. Speaking of MacBooks, I forgot my MacBook. Hold up. Let me pop that in there. And another cool function that I almost forgot about this thing is you can actually use the front to keep stuff. So let's say if I didn't want to put this in the bag, or if I had some groceries or something like that, I could just roll that up there, then pop that over there, and then just use these bits to lock it in. I think I saw a photo of Patrick, the guy that makes these, over at Urbanscapes, and he's carrying like a bunch of tripods with that as well. You know, very versatile bag. And if you just go over to greenroom136.com, as you can check it out, you can actually order the bag for like 500 ringgit. So you just look up at greenroom136.com and find the Bootstrap Genesis right over here and make your order, or just go to any like MacBook stores you can find it. In the meantime though, this is a very cool bag packed with a ton of crap that I've just opened, and forgot a thumb drive. Crap. Put that in my pocket. They're still used for pockets. Yeah, very, very cool bag. Just wish it had some small compartments to put little things like my thumb drive and stuff like that. So if it's something you dig, just go over to greenroom136.com and check it out. They got a Christmas spirit wedge as well. Who'd have known? Check out the Green Room bags, even if you don't like the backpack. The sling bags are very, very cool, and they got all kinds of very cool stuff. Please check them out. Support your local guys who are trying to make something cool, trying to make something individual, keeping it local. Just go out there, support them. And with something like this, don't worry. You don't have to worry about supporting something and going, well, it's kind of crap, but hey, it's Malaysian. No. This stuff is the real deal. Van Holyfield, I really, really dig this guy's bags. I wouldn't have paid for 3 of the bags already before even getting this one if I didn't dig his stuff. Thank you, Green Room.